Hello everyone, today's screencast is on scatter graphs, it's on correlation, and you've needed to watch the first one, which is on drawing scatter graphs. And if you've done that, this is going to be fast, it's going to be easy. Before you know it, you're going to be finished. You would have done the quiz and you'll be back to doing whatever you were doing before you were watching this screencast, which is great news for you, I'm sure. What is a scatter graph? We've done this before. Scatter graphs are used to represent and compare two sets of data, X and Y. By looking at a scatter graph, we can see whether there is a connection or a correlation. And that's what we're going to look at today. Temperature and ice cream sold. The hotter it is outside, the more we all want ice cream, and that includes me. I love a good ice cream. And all that information is represented on the data, on the graph we can see there. We're going to look in a little bit more detail, and we're going to have, obviously got our two sets of data, but we're also going to be able to label them today. Is it a positive correlation? Is it a negative correlation? Is there no correlation? Is the correlation a strong correlation? Or is it a weak correlation? That's the best I could find for weak. The weakest link in the chain. I thought that was quite good. So anyway, we have to decide whether or not, when we look at the data, when we take a quick glance at it, whether or not we have a positive, a negative, no correlation, a strong or a weak. Sounds complicated, but I promise you it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. So let's have a little look at this one. We're going to go through these, and really you just need to write notes as we go along, but there's no real questions apart from the quiz for you today. We could look at that, and I'm going to draw my line of best fit. Make sure you've watched the first screencast on that. And we can see there that it's going in uphill. I always like to say uphill. Now that means that we're looking at a positive correlation. If it's going on this uphill here, then basically as, let's say, the temperature rose, the ice cream sold. So the fact that the temperature had a positive impact on sales is good, very good actually. Now, the second part is, so for this one, we're looking at a positive. Okay, it's definitely not a negative, and it's not no correlation. But is it strong or weak? Now, can we see here that all of our markers are all quite close to this line? That means it's a strong positive correlation. If those markers were all over the place, we still had a positive, but they're separated, we could say that that would be a weak correlation. And that's probably what I'm going to move on to next. It's been a while since I've looked at this PowerPoint. Oh, surprise, surprise. There we go. So we can see here that although it is all spread out and it's getting more close to no correlation, but we can see that generally we are getting this positive correlation. So if I was going to do a line of best fit there, then I could still do that line of best fit. It would be, you know, a little bit shaky. So I would say, yeah, okay, it's still positive, but it's a weak correlation, isn't it? Because there's only a couple of points in there, and there's quite a few that are way off. So we would say that's a weak positive, or a positive weak. I'd say weak positive. Always go weak positive or strong positive first. Okay, so make sure you make notes on those. It's really important that as we go through here, you're not just watching. Don't be that guy or girl. Make some notes as we go along, and you'll remember it for longer, and that will serve you better in the long term. All right, so let's have a look. Here we go. Now can we see that if we put our line of best fit, oh, here we go, we've got a negative correlation. So as the values are going up, we've got a negative impact. So therefore, we're looking at, it's downhill, isn't it? We've got this negative, and can we see all of the points are very close to the line? So that means we've got a strong negative correlation. Guess what's up next, everyone? Guess what's up next? That's right, it's going to be a weak negative. Line of best fit. This is actually kind of in between, isn't it, really? But we're definitely looking at a weak negative if we have to label one of those two. These points should be maybe a little bit further apart, but as you can see, there's an element of judgment call here that you would use. And in your test, they would normally give you cast iron examples. So a weak negative for that one. And last but not least, we're going to look at we can't really put a line of best fit in here. And when we can't, I mean, arguably you could say, well, a line of best fit could go this, or could it go this way? Oh, you'd be really struggling. There are points all over the shop. So therefore, we're going to say this is a no correlation. It's going to be a no correlation. We wouldn't really then go and say whether it's strong or weak either. Okay. So, one of those, no correlation. We wouldn't really label it strong or weak. Okay, everyone. And believe it or not, that is it. We are now moving on to the quiz. So all you have to do is label these graphs. Is it strong positive, or is it a weak positive, or is it a no correlation, or is it a strong negative, or a strong positive, or whatever it is? You just got to label them. Make sure you label them in full. Make sure you draw them out. Come back and see if you've got them correct. This may be the fastest screencast I've ever done. Pause the video now, give it a go, come back and see if you've got it correct. Okay, everyone, let's go. So for the first one, hopefully you wrote positive. Strong, or strong positive. On the second one here, we had no correlation. And on the third one, we definitely had a negative, and it was a strong negative. And there we go, everyone. That was it. Hopefully you've done amazingly well. I always say hopefully. I don't need to say hopefully. I know you have. You guys and girls have been amazing today. Until next time, it's always a pleasure helping you with your maths. Hopefully you feel you've got a little bit better today.